The joint committees on electoral matters from both chambers of the National Assembly at the ongoing retreat on the bills for an act to repeal the Electoral Act is insisting that the ongoing electoral amendment process will not in any way tamper with the provision of the Constitution on the 18 years voting age as established by law, that a person was attained before they become eligible to vote in a public election. Well, our Irish News correspondent Punari Mamfeitola tells us more.
There have been calls on the National Assembly to expedite action on the passage of the electoral bill to avoid various challenges faced during and after elections, including electoral violence, vote buying, malfunction of card readers, and long court cases. However, as the lawmakers settled in at the retreat in Abuja, the unexpected happened. A group stormed the venue with placards calling for members of the committee to take quick action on the electoral amendments and not jeopardize democracy in Nigeria. The leader of the group says the memoranda submitted at the public hearing on the proposed electoral amendment bill in 2020 should be considered to ensure that Nigerians get a new electoral act that truly strengthens the capacity of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec, to conduct free, fair and credible elections.
We urge your noble selves and the entire team working on the review to be bold and courageous in bequeathing to Nigerians an enduring new electoral act that will stand the test of time.
Vice Chairman of the committee stressed that the focus will be on key areas and that the provision on voting age is not under review.
The person that is supposed to vote is clearly stated in the Constitution. It is not an electoral act. It is in the Constitution. The person must be 18 years and above, all right, of sound mind, and it is very clear. So anybody that has a voter's card is believed that that person is 18 years. Any other person that can prove otherwise, then is the case for litigation.
We make amendment on instead of 4 months, we now make it at 6 months for the party to submit the name of the candidate without remove. Only it can be removed if there's a death in the candidate, and primary must be conducted within 14 days.
Another aspect of the amendment which is a takeaway for me is the issue of pre-election matters and the duration for determination of such cases. I have been a victim of a beneficiary of a judiciary process and also a victim of a long electoral court processes in court, and this provision would make it a lot easier and shorten the time.
Some stakeholders at the meeting highlighted some key areas requiring attention.
Assembly is doing is to repeal and then enact a new law 2021 to guide the elections in 2023. I think it's important that National Assembly is doing this quite early. Hopefully the National Assembly is able to pass this bill ahead of the end of the first quarter of 2021, and it gives for all of us stakeholders in the electoral process sufficient time to prepare for the elections in 2023.
One of the provisions that actually excite me a lot is it helps the Commission if there is certainty in the way we prepare for elections. And the new section 29, subsection 1, now commits political parties to conducting their primaries 180 days to the date appointed by the Commission for Elections.
A major reform that Nigerians are waiting for is whether electronic voting will now be passed into law, as the only reason President Muhammadu Buhari withheld its assent to that provision in 2015 was that the time for its implementation was too short. Punari Mamfeitola, Arise News.
Joining us now is the chair of the House Committee on Inec, Honorable Aishatu Dukku.
Great to have you here this evening. Thank you very much, Honorable Member of the House, for joining us. The first thing we'd like to know is what are the changes that we would expect to get as a result of the committee meeting and meeting with the stakeholders and everything? What are the things we would expect to see as part of the reform?
Right. Thank you very much for having me. it is a complete repeal and reenactment. So
you're practically replacing what we had?
No, we are not actually replacing, but we want to compile all the amendments together. You remember we have 2010 as amended, 2015 as amended. So we want to put all the amendments in one form so that even the judges will have one document to work with. That is number one. Number two, when we came in, we promised Nigerians that we are going to strengthen our democracy, that we are going to make Inec elections to be free, fair, and credible, so that Nigerians will have every cause to believe in their votes being counted. When we came in, this was the promise, and this is what we have been trying to achieve. Now, a lot of sections, are new. We have over 300 clauses that have come in, and a lot have been amended. Let me start with the commission itself. We have strengthened the commission to make sure that INEC is as independent as possible. We have strengthened the INEC funds so that they have funds that they can use for election way before the year of the election. You remember we had monies released in 2019, 6 weeks to elections. And of course, you know what that means. So now they can have monies on a yearly basis so that even 2 years to the election, they can start preparing. We also have made it possible for INEC staff to take an oath of secrecy or confidentiality that they are going to work in confidence, and then they are not going to accept any bribes. They are not going to be corrupt. They must sign that. And then we have also made it that if you have to replace your voter's card, there's a procedure, and that has to be done way ahead of the election. We've also made it possible for Nigerian youth to say no to violence, because most of the time during party primaries, party elections, or political meetings, we use the youth, to create violence so that voting can be disrupted, so that political meetings can be disrupted. So we have made it now that the Nigerian youth can decide to say no, they are not going to do that. There are sections that will protect them if they really want to. So that is also strengthening the political system.
Honorable Aishatu Dukku, well, all of this sounds so good on paper, but we'll wait for the eventual outcome after you're done with your retreat and get that white paper. Then we can have you back and really have this conversation.
Well,
but for now, we'd have to say thank you so much. We'll have to say thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program.